Here's an update on the church that I help with their landscape. Here are those beautiful tulips that I put in. I've gotten so many compliments about these tulips. And the daffodils look really leggy. I don't know what's up with that. The sad part about it all is that my ranunculus didn't even pop up. I planted them all back there and they didn't even bother to say hello. I'm thinking maybe these daffodils aren't getting enough sun, or I didn't plant them deep enough. One of the two, maybe both. Anyway, I just redid this one here, this planter right here. Let's try to go back a little bit so you can see. So I can see anyway. I just put a bunch of different annuals in here, a lot of petunias. I saw these little variegated lilies and I thought, oh, those would be perfect for Easter. I'm gonna have to come back and put a couple more plants in here because the plants that were recently in here, like this white one that kind of looks like sweet alyssum, and this anemone, they're pretty much done. So they got hit with that bad weather. And then the other one, this one always looks different, worse. I never like this one as much as I like the other one. I don't know what's up with that. It has the same plants. These daffodils lasted longer. It has the same exact plants, but it looks completely different. And I don't know what's up with that. I never like it as much as the other one though. I think I'm gonna, when these petunias die, I'm just gonna take out everything and redo it from the very beginning. Then over here on this side, look at these. These tulips look really good. Look at those. Those are gorgeous. Seriously. I didn't see those ones. These daffodils are the same way. They're like leggy. I don't know, maybe that's how they grow the first year. Guess we'll find out. There's some back here. And their flowers are turned the wrong way, so that was kind of pointless. Anywho. Then over here at our teardrop bed, things aren't looking very good right now. They were looking really good. I had all these white daffodils popping up, and then there was these beautiful little pink tulips popping up. But we had a big windstorm, there was hail, there was rain, and it just doesn't look good anymore. There's a couple gems here and there, like these little pink tulips. There's a couple of them. But overall, not great. I'm thinking maybe I should come and trim up this hedge a little bit. I was just gonna let it grow for these next 2 years because it doesn't look like a hedge at all right now. It just looks kind of random. And I knew it was gonna happen like that, but I'm thinking maybe a little trim might help because it's making me frustrated. And this guy, I've been keeping in here even though he looks awful because they're expensive. Cypress trees are expensive. And he's been growing back, as you can see, his little baby growth. But he's not growing back fast enough, so I'm thinking maybe I'll buy a new one and put him somewhere around the church in a different part of the landscape. And I think I might remove these shepherd's hooks. La, la, la. They kept falling. During the winter time we got a lot of rain, which is unusual for California, but I think we got a lot of rain everywhere. Anyway, they kept falling over, and it was kind of annoying to have to, I don't go to this church, so I had to text somebody here at the church, hey, can you take down the plants from those shepherd hooks and put the hooks back in the ground before church. They look awful. Yeah. Anyway, there we go with the anyway again. let's look at the rose bushes. So some of these new rose bushes look good and some look bad. This guy got beat up. He got like ran over somehow. Half of him was broken off when I came one day. And some of these look really, really good. They're putting on beautiful growth. They're about to bloom. Like this whole row. I don't know if he gets more sun than everybody else. I don't really know, but he's looking really good. This is how big that other rose was before he got ran over. But just on the other side over here, these rose bushes are doing awful. And of course I am to blame. I cut them down way too much. I just went, I don't know, scissor finger happy on them. This one's a new one, so he looks really good. But these ones that I cut down too far, they look so sad. Oh, so sad. I'm gonna have to replace some of them. They're just not gonna come back in a fast enough time. I always take the plants that I take out of the landscape and put them back in somewhere else. You know, somewhere where they're not so present on the side of the buildings. And the same thing over here. Most of them are okay, but there's quite a few, as you can see in this section right here, not doing very good. Waiting for those roses. And again over there, not really the greatest looking roses you ever did see, and I'm hoping they'll make a comeback. It's because I cut them too short. You'll see on the other side of the church where I didn't cut them so short, they've made a great comeback, but these ones, you live and learn. That was my first time trimming back a rose this big. They were huge. They were like 4 feet tall. So I just cut them back because even though they were 4 feet tall, they looked awful. They looked so tired. There was barely any leaves, barely any flowers, so I just trimmed them back, thinking they would come back. And they will, but it's gonna take a lot more time than expected. Over here, I have put 3 new bushes. There was nothing here, and I thought, he needs something. So we've got these roses, and they look really good. They're happy. I need to come back and put some type of ground cover in here so these weeds will be suppressed. We'll see what happens. Maybe some bark or something. So this is where I put the rose bushes that weren't doing very good. I just threw them in the landscape here and there. There's one there. There's one there. There's one over here. And one more over here. So you see how they're growing back, but they're not growing very fast. So I put them on the side of the building so no one will be able to see them every single day. You'll see them when you drive by the road, but not really since they're not big enough. Last but not least are the roses that I didn't trim back to the stub. I just kind of cut them back to about 2 feet. And see how they've recovered so well? These things grow so fast and so tall if you give them that little bit of... So you can see the old stem that I left and how these new stems have just come up and they're about to explode. But they were covering the windows and you couldn't see outside the windows. That guy doesn't look too good. And they're all pushing out new growth. They look absolutely divine. Look at that one, oh my goodness. So lesson learned, don't cut your iceberg roses down to the stump. Leave them a couple of feet to grow. I wanted to kind of show you what they look like before I trim them. I don't trim these ones because they're growing to try to cover these thingies. I don't know what they're called, air conditioning units. I don't know. Anyway, but look how tall they are. They cover the windows. You can't see out of the windows. Maybe I should trim that one like to the top of the air conditioning unit. But they grow so big. They look awesome, you know, stand alone. Not very many other, you don't have to put very many other plants in there with it. But they're not practical in front of windows. So today I'm here at the Versailles garden, or that's what I call it since that's my inspiration. And I'm gonna be potting up these two urn pots. They were looking kind of scraggly and they were supposed to be twins, but they were looking like, I don't know. They were just looking really bad. So I decided to take out all the plants and redo it. So here's what I got. The Lord must have been on my side because this is for a church. Because I wanted these dahlias, but they were $6 a thing. And I went to the clearance rack, and guess how much they were? Dun, 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 dun. $1. $1 for this plant. So I got as many as looked good and healthy. Those are the dahlias. And then the same over here, they were $1. These ones look a little bit more sad, but they really just need water because they're super duper dry. Oh, and I forgot what these are called. Petunias, yeah, petunias. And then for my trailing plant, I got the potato vine and then some salvia, which I'm hoping I'll be able to take out and plant into the landscape somewhere. I think that my lesson from these pots is that I should just take out the plants every single time because they get different light exposures, maybe different watering, and so sometimes the plants look really good in them in one and really bad in the other. So I've just decided from now on I'm just going to take all the plants out. All right, so this is the before and I will show you the after. All right, so here we go. This is what they ended up looking like. We got that hint of blue in the back, or purple. Dahlias, the petunias, this potato vine. And guess what? They still don't look the same, but at least they look really close. This one has a bit more color to it because the petunias I put in here had already had some white flowers on them. And I put that potato vine a little bit too much in the middle, whereas that one's more on the side. Gonna cascade on the side. Shouldn't be too much of a difference though. I think that they're still really close. This looks really good. I'm very happy with this combination. I think it looks really pretty. All right, let's go on a tour of what the property is looking like. I just trimmed this cypress. He's leaning and that's kind of scary, but he's been leaning for a while, so I think it's just the way he decided to grow. I trimmed him up, gave him a little bit of a haircut, and I transplanted this plant here. He was over there in that corner, and I transplanted him here. And we've been having cool days here in California, but he still looks terrible. Look at that. Compared to that, I don't know if he's gonna make it. Maybe he just doesn't like to be transplanted, I don't know. But overall, he's looking, this bed is looking good. And the other side, we have this guy, his twin, or supposed to be twin. He's leaning a little bit, but not very much. He looks a lot better. But his transplant just looks awful. Look at that. How sad. Anyway, and this is that rose bush that has all white except for this one pink flower. Weird. We also have this bed, which I'm still figuring out what I'm doing with this. I don't know yet. I planted some zinnias and I thought that they were going to be the tall variety, but it looks like they're going to be the short variety, which stinks. Anyway, This ground cover is finally coming back. I put some sweet alyssum in here, but I don't think it's getting enough water. I've got to check out this drip irrigation system, and some dianthus as well. I also transplanted that knothead weed, I think it's called, into this pot, and we'll see if it survives. Also, this cypress is finally coming back after being so sad for so long. It was almost dead when I got here, so. And then our boxwood hedge is looking pretty good. These roses are making a great comeback. Well, at least this island one. There's that one that got ran over. He's coming back really well. And these guys look pretty good. But just, I don't know, 20 feet away, we've got some problems. I just sprayed these off with a hose because they were just infested with aphids. Look at this guy over here though. I just don't understand how one side could be so good and the other side does not look good at all. Our pink roses are coming out great though. That one was a new one, so he looks really nice. But look at this. You can't even see it because how dead it is. I just don't know. Don't know what's up with it. The other side is growing back so well. Here's some more pink roses. I put pink roses on the ends of all these parking stalls, or I don't know what they're called, parking islands. He's not blooming yet. Again, here we have quite a few, well, just this section here that are just dead. They decided not to come back. And this pink rose is giving off a beautiful one. Pretty. And he's basically the same as the other side. A little bit less growth, but all in all, pretty nice. These three I just planted here. There was nothing growing here, and yes, I know I still need to put in a ground cover. I was watching the video that I videoed a couple months ago, and I said I was going to put a ground cover in here and still haven't. So here are those dead roses I moved into the landscape over here. This guy is looking the best out of all of them. He's very happy. I gotta figure out how to get drip irrigation over here because none of these plants are really getting watered. Unless I bring a hose out here, and I don't really want to do that every time. So this guy doesn't look like he's going to give us anything. And that guy's looking good. So in this bed we have these beautiful crepe myrtles who are doing really well over here. And then you come over here and these crepe myrtles look like we crepe murdered them. And you know what? These ones are the ones that actually have drip tube going to them. So that's kind of ridiculous. I don't know why they're so unhappy. Last but not least, we have these roses that have come back in full glory. And now I know that when we cut back roses, we have to leave stem for them to grow back on, because I really messed up those roses in the parking island by cutting them back way too much. But I think that eventually, a year or two, they'll get to this growth, because these iceberg roses grow really fast, very well. I really need to trim this. Crepe myrtle, look at that, he is taking over this side of the church. This bed just looks so pretty. And I think that I've created a problem when I decided not to trim back this one, because now he's decided he wants to take over this air conditioning unit. Look how big they get if you just let them do whatever they want. They're like an unruly child. They're beautiful though. You still love them. Oh my word. Oh my goodness. This video is not doing justice to how tall this thing is, how massive this thing is. Oh my word. That crepe myrtle over there, he's probably just, oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet taller than this rose bush here. This guy was in just peak bloom a couple days ago. Now you can see his petals are falling, but he grows just as big as that iceberg rose. That one's not doing too great. And I think we just need to replace that banana tree with something else.